translucency, or in this term, subsurface scattering. What is this? This is the idea that when light enters an object, instead of it passing all the way through like glass, it bounces around, but it still ends up showing through. So you can see here the strong light going through skin, or going through this like material, or this cloth right here. The light goes through. Another example would be a candle here. So the way we're going to look at this is we're going to look at it through a candle, and the scene is already there for you. It's called Candle for Tutorial 1, and almost everything is there. So I have a candle here, I have my wick, and this little guy right here, this is going to be where the flame is. Right? So the room is dark already. Okay. What we're going to, we have a background right here. What we're going to do is we're going to start off by creating a light, a point light. Shift A. Let's go to point light, and let's go to 3, and let's move this point light somewhere above, maybe right about here. Alright, so we got this point light right here, and my point light, let's just pull it into the collection right there, and right now it is 1 or 10. Let's do 1000. Alright, go back to my camera view by pressing 0, maybe pull it up, and let's see what this looks like. Alright, so this is my view right here. I have these wooden boards, and I have this candle. I don't have any of the translucency going on right now. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to add in some translucency. So this candle right here, it's called candle. I'm going to change from principled BDSDF to subsurface scattering. Alright, and you're going to see a little bit of red going on there. Let's change the scale to 5, and now you're going to see a little bit of that nice waxy translucency, the light kind of coming through inside from the flame. Alright, the next thing we can do is we could actually do the same thing with the wick here. Let's call it a subsurface scattering, but instead of being white, we're going to make it actually quite dark. Alright, and the scale is maybe 0.2. So we just want a little bit in there. Okay, let's try scale 1. Okay, now the thing is we need to add a flame here. So I'm going to go to the base color. So this one I'm going to keep as principled BSDF. I'm going to go here, base color, image texture, and I'm going to open it up, and you can find it in the with this file right here, and it's in textures, and it's called Candle Flame 3, and it's a PNG, and I'll explain this in a second. Alright, and what you can see is you can see kind of like the shape of a flame right here, but it's not looking like it's on fire. Alright, now the thing is textures, candle flame PNG. So PNG has something interesting. It has that transparency on the outside, that transparency there. So if I added like some kind of texture behind it, so brush, so you see this, like actually there's transparent, wherever there's this grid, there's transparency there. Okay, so that's how a transparency works. And what this does is it saves the transparency in what is called an alpha. Save it. All right. So I need to add it. This has an alpha, but I'm gonna have to connect a few nodes for this. I also need to make this glow. So I'm gonna go into my shading editor right here, and I have my texture right here, and you're gonna see, I'm gonna move this down, zoom in. I'm gonna do a few things. The first one is I'm gonna connect alpha to alpha. So now this flame right here is going to have some transparency on there. So I did it correctly. Set the alpha. Okay, I want to connect my color to emission. And emission is making this texture into something that glows. But I need to change my emission strength to something a lot brighter. I'm going to change it to 50. So it's the strength of, it's got 50 strength in here. It's still not very beautiful because I need to turn on bloom. There we go. So now I have this kind of nice looking glowy texture going on. I've got the light here, got the texture there. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do is press 0, and I have some nice translucency going on here. Let's go back to the layout. I want to go to my renders, and I want to look at subsurface scattering, and I think the initial one, sometimes when you're subsurface scattering, when you're in Eevee, the samples might be like, I think the initial one is something like 6, and you can see these weird banding. So I'm just pushing my samples all the way up to 32, so I have this nice gradient going on. But anyways, now we have this beautiful subsurface scattering going on in my candle. If I really want it to go even further, I can scale it a bit more, right? So now you can kind of go even further, but I think 5 is, or 6 maybe. Okay, so we got this nice subsurface scattering where the light glows inside of the texture of my candle. And that is how we can get subsurface scattering in a candle, right, with a flame here. I'm just going to do one more thing just for fun, and this is a bonus, and I'm going to grab all of this stuff right here, and I'm going to press 3. I'm going to shift D. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to move it over back a little bit, go back to my camera, and I want to move it somewhere maybe over here. Alright, so now I have my candle over here. I have a candle over here, and I want to grab my camera. My candle's here, my other candle's here. I'm going to grab my camera, and I want to have some blur as if I'm focusing only on this thing. So I'm going to go to depth of field, and I'm going to use this little picker to select the candle. And now I'm going to change my f-stop, and so this is in focus and this is out of focus. Alright, and that kind of just gives this whole scene a bit more of a filmic look. Alright, and I can render it out. Go right here. So I have this nice beautiful, like, now almost is photorealistic. I use some photorealistic textures here. It's looking pretty good with that little extra bokeh kind of depth of field. And that's how we deal with some subsurface scattering and translucency.